Hello everybody, welcome to the video. Thank you for checking it out. I really appreciate it. As you can see, we've got something a little bit different here today. We are working with a slightly new setup where not only can I speak to you here, but you can also see at the same time what's going on here on my drawing table. And what I'm very excited about is that this is going to give me the opportunity to not only speak to you about what I'm working on, but to show you. And so that's what we're going to be doing in this video shortly. First, I wanted to just tell you a quick story about what I'm working on, where it comes from. So if you saw my first old art critique video, you'll know that when I was in middle school, I took on the adventure of making my very own first comic book. And this is what it was. It was my own superheroes, with an adventure drawn on copy paper, colored with markers. Pretty rough. But it's always had a very sweet spot in my heart, and these characters, were my first original characters that I created, and I've always wanted to go back and work on them. And then over the years, I've had the opportunity to work on different projects for different people, and finally, in 2020, when we were at home, and unfortunately comic book conventions were canceled, so I had more free time on my hands, I decided I was going to sit down and write the story. I've been working on it off and on for several years of writing out the script, writing the story, and I decided I was going to draw it, and that's what I've done. So I wrote out the script, wrote out the story, and now I am down to the last page of the story that needs to be completed, and my book will be ready to be colored and lettered in the next steps, but the drawing part will all be done. Now, when you make comic books, what a lot of people don't understand or don't know is that comic book pages are done in multiples of 4, and that is because the comic book, the way it's printed, right, it's one piece of paper for a page. You have 2 pages on one side, 2 pages on another side, and then it's folded in half and stapled in the middle. So every piece of paper you use has 4 comic book pages on it. And so when I wrote my script, I wrote a 20-page script. And I got down to the end, and I realized I needed a little more room to tell the story the way I wanted to. So I started adding some pages in there and quickly realized I didn't have the next variable of 4. So from 20, I had to go to 24, and I really only had 23 pages of story. So, I thought about what could I put on that 24th page, and sometimes you'll see some behind the scenes stuff. I thought I could put some sketches. I have on my drawing table, you can't see it over here, but I have a sketch of the original, the main protagonist of the story. I have the design sketch that I did. I could scan that and say, is that really that interesting? And one of the things that I always really enjoyed from a lot of the comics in the 90s is that you would have these big pinups in the back of comics, like Rob Liefeld's X-Force, Jim Lee's X-Men, and it would sort of show like things to come, or it would show one of the main characters in a setting that had nothing to do with the story, but kind of made you wonder, like, where's this? Is this part of a different story, or is this something to come up in the future? I always really enjoyed those a lot. And so I started thinking about that, and I said, what if I had the characters, and this is what dawned on me, they don't look like this anymore. I'll show you, let's see here if we've got a good shot of all of them, the characters sort of together. But the designs don't look like this anymore. I've changed it considerably, make a little more sense, be a little more modern. But I thought, what if I redrew them in those original costumes from the 1987, 88 when I did this, but obviously, in the style that I draw today. And so that's what the last page is going to be, and that's what I'm going to be working on here. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you a couple of the completed pages. Nothing, no spoilers, so there's nothing here that's going to give the story away too much, but wanted to give you an idea of how it's looking and what's coming along. So this is our first page of the story, setting up one of our main characters and the setting of where this is coming from. And then this is page 4, and this is sort of another setup page, getting the beginning of our heroes, our superheroes, coming into the picture. So we've got some scenery, some setting, story moving along. So those are the first couple pages that I wanted to show. And then here is the team, the superhero team, in the old costumes. So, like I said, this is not what they look like anymore. Quite a bit has changed. One of the characters is no longer part of this team. One of the characters has changed. I've changed genders. I made one of the characters was a male character, is now a female character, things of that nature. So, yeah, so I thought it would be a lot of fun to do this old school style, put it in the back. So now, so you can see I've penciled it all out. I'm pretty comfortable here with most of the big lines and what I want. And now I'm ready to start inking. And so that's what I was going to work on next and give you guys kind of an example of that process so you can see that as I'm working. So yeah, so I always start, I mean, you could start literally anywhere as it's all penciled in. But for me, I like to start in the foreground and work back. That way I don't overlap lines and things of that nature. And with most figures, I think a lot of artists would tell you the same thing. They start with the eyes. The eyes are one of the most important parts of the character in terms of giving you their personality, what they're thinking, all that kind of stuff. And if you make a mistake there, there's not necessarily a lot of reason to keep going. At that point, you might want to start over. So that's what we're going to start off with here. Yeah. So one of the things that, you know, I've been thinking about a lot here, and something I wanted to share at some point, you know, in a video with young artists, people who are starting out, is the feeling of what it takes to make it, or to, you know, quote unquote make it, to be a comic book artist, or whatever it is that you dream of doing or being. So when I was a kid, as far back pretty much as I can remember, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to draw comic books. So like, if I had a school assignment and there was an opportunity to illustrate something, to tell the story, to add a drawing component to it, I absolutely was going to do it. No questions asked. It is, like I said, it was the only thing I wanted to do. There was not a time when I wanted to be an astronaut or a fireman or a marine biologist or anything else. I wanted to draw and wanted to draw comic books. So for a long time, in my mind, all I knew about was Marvel and DC comic books, right? So you either draw Spider-Man, you draw Superman or Batman, or you draw the Hulk or Thor, whatever it is. And that was it. And if you didn't do those things, then you weren't a comic book artist. I didn't know for a long, long time about other publishers, that there even were other publishers, that there were people who published their own work, independent publishers. I didn't know anything about the black and white indie comics scene. I didn't know any of that stuff. And so to me, again, like, it seemed like if you didn't draw for Marvel, for DC, whoever, you hadn't made it. You weren't really a comic book artist. You were just somebody trying to make it. And I think this applies to a lot of things. You know, there's people who, you know, maybe you want to be a musician, or you want to be a sculptor, or you want to be a whatever. There's a certain component that says, well, you know, what do you have to do that? So if you want to be a singer and you're in a band, or you're recording music on your own, but you don't, you know, you're not recording for a big music label, are you not a musician? No, you absolutely are. And that's the point that I wanted to make. It took me a long time to realize I am a comic book artist. Why? Because that's what I am doing. I'm drawing a comic book. Whether it's going to be published for Marvel, whether I publish it myself, whether another publisher puts it out, you know, in the end, I have comic books that people have purchased, that they own, with my name in it as the artist. But I'll tell you, there were times, you know, when I absolutely felt like giving up. I thought, man, you know, I haven't made it by this time. I'm, you know, say I'm 30 years old, and, you know, and nobody's found me out, and you know, I'm not working for Marvel. I'm not working for DC. I guess, you know, maybe I'm not going to make it. Maybe I should give this up. Thank goodness I didn't, because it doesn't mean anything. Like I said, here I am. I'm drawing comics, now working here on this particular project, working on my own. Got a couple other projects I'm doing. So no matter what anybody says, yeah, I am a comic book artist, and I did it, and I made it. And, you know, would it be great to work on Superman or Spider-Man or the Hulk? Sure. That doesn't mean, if I don't, that I haven't achieved what I wanted to do, which is to be a comic book artist. So I guess what I'm saying is there's no time limit, and there's no level, you know, there's a level of success that you can set for yourself. You can set yourself goals and expectations, but don't let other people set those for you. If, like I said, if you want to be a musician, and you're in a band, and all your band does is play for yourselves in your garage or basement or whatever, then you're a musician. You're in a band. Good for you. You did it. If you want to be a sculptor, and this, you know, so you sculpt in clay, and you make a sculpture, and that sculpture sits in your house, then you're a sculptor. It doesn't have to be in a museum. It doesn't have to be in the Louvre or in the Museum of Modern Art or something like that. You are a sculptor. Good for you. So keep chasing those dreams no matter what. There's no time limit. The only limit is what you put on yourself. So that's my advice, is in general, in life. Don't give up. Keep working, because that's what's important, is reaching out and trying to achieve what means something for you, especially in these times. You know, it's kind of crazy. The world is a crazy place. Find something that you do that brings you joy, that makes you excited about getting up and sitting down somewhere and doing something. It's writing or drawing or dancing or singing or whatever it is, woodworking, if it's building, shaping, whatever it is that makes you excited, pursue that. Don't give up because somebody hasn't, you know, whatever it is, you know, if you want to be in movies, if you want to be an actor, well, you know, okay, so, you know, Steven Spielberg hasn't called you to be in a movie yet. That's okay. Do something else. Work with a small team. Work with friends. Make your own movie. I mean, you're still an actor. You're still a movie maker. You're still doing what you're passionate about. That's what's truly important. So that's my advice and my kind of life lesson that I have realized here in the last few years as I've gotten older. So what I'm doing now is I am waking up my monitor. I am doing some of the basic contour outlines, right? So I'm not, as you can see, I'm not getting into, I've shaded where I want it to be dark, but there's a lot of area where I would do line work, hatching, as they call it, as we call it, maybe some cross hatching or shading to create shadows and stuff. I'm going to do that after. But the first thing, the way I start is by going through and doing all of these outlines, then looking back at where the light is. So pretty much for most of these figures, the light is coming from the top down, kind of sort of in this general direction here. So your shadows are going to be more on this side. Your light source is going to be more on this side. So if the light is over here, this part, like this part of the arm, is going to be very light, and I'll come in back over here and I'll add more shadows on this side of the bicep. I'll add more shadows underneath this arm, but for now, like I said, I'm just doing the outline here. So for this particular video, because like I said, this is sort of a new thing I'm trying out with the 2-camera setup. It's brand new, so I wanted to give this a shot. Just reach out, say hi to everybody, and again, thank you for posting or for checking out my video. Again, if there's anybody out there who is watching these who, you know, is maybe struggling with their artwork or looking for some advice on what they need to do, or if they want to know what they, what could I do different, or how could I improve, or what do you think about this or that, and they just want someone, a set of eyes to take a look at it, reach out to me on social media. You can put in comments here on the YouTube video. I do check those. If you want to reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, Jerry Rasco, and you'll find me pretty easily there, and you can reach out and we can work something out. But I'm always up to take a look at what other artists are working on and offer my advice whenever I can. So please don't hesitate to ask for some help or some, like I said, just another set of eyes maybe, if that's what you need in your process right now. And then at some point here in the future, once I have the comic a little more completed, maybe to the point where lettering is done, at that point I'll definitely be sharing some more of the pages, of the completed pages, so you can see what's going on. So as I say, I'm going to finish kind of the basic line work here on this figure, and then and that'll be it for this video, and then I will catch you up as we make more progress. But again, thanks so much for checking this out, and yeah, here's to everybody. Here's to 2021. We're early on. Hopefully the rest of the year is going to be a good one. Trying to be optimistic here as we move ahead. People are going to be safe and healthy and all that good stuff, and we'll eventually here in the year get back to more of a normal life. That would be super exciting. So yeah, so as you can see here, so we've got kind of the basics. You can see some of the pencil lines, like this is, like I was saying, where I would do some of the hatching to create some shadow where the front of that shin right under the knee would be a little bit darker because your knee sticks out. So I would drop some lines in there to create some gray. Same thing here. This is going to be lines there. But I'm going to do that after I erase all the pencil lines, and then I'll come in and start adding those shadows and hatching and creating some depth in the line work. But there we go. So thank you. I appreciate it very much. Let me know if there's anything, any artwork that you're interested in having somebody take a look at. Like I said, happy to do it. And be on the lookout for some more videos as we go. Thanks, and I'll be talking again to you soon.